Hello everyone. Well, a little while ago I started walking. Let's see if we get to the place and if we find that it's still possible to fish. For now we have a good sign because even though there are some puddles of water, it looks pretty solid. The place. Alright, so in a little while I'll show you the place. We came here to fish. Once I think with a friend who showed me this place. Look how beautiful it is. And then he never came again. And well, like now things are tough here. In fact, there's already a warning due to heavy rain in the previous days, especially in the surrounding areas. In Tala, it rose about 9 meters. I think in Villagay, it went up almost 200 as well. All that water will come down here in the coming days, so let's take advantage of this time for fishing. What a beautiful place. Like this. Let's see if we can stay. I was warned frequently about the snakes since there's little remaining and you're playing with height naturally. All the animals and bugs will try to stay away from the water. Well, deafening. He's down here, man. I swear to you, the temperature change here, it's incredible. I went from being hot to feeling cool here. Well, notice that everything is dry. That's the thing. You can't really tell anything. Let's try to look for those parts where I more or less know where the arm goes because I imagine all of this is just overgrowth. Now I'll move forward and show you clearly where it connects to the river with the arm. Look at the palm tree, this one. A strong wind and it wouldn't survive. This one already looks like its panels have blown off. Well, that's where they put up the sign for him. Always in the best places, and as you know, getting permits is complicated. Look. Alright, let's get to the truth. I didn't expect that, and if what they've already warned about happens, it'll probably rise up to around here. Alright, everything that is. From that pot, it comes like this. The natural branch of the river extends in that direction. Following that, you observe from this section over here. It's all water from the same flood. Look over there. You won't see those logs from afar, but they're full of ants. The red ones, those are over there. Let's see, I'm gonna add more of a... Alright, what you see there is a bunch of ants that are obviously grouped together to... So they don't get carried away by the flood, the rising water. They also usually do something like they form a raft together, but in this case they're on a stick. Who knows how old these trees are? Look, there's a southern lapwing over there, Pichon. It looks like someone hit it with a slingshot. And it can't stand on its feet. And well, as for fishing, I think this is the best area. One little trick we have is that estimate 5 meters, not in height, but in the space where the arm begins. So, for example, if I cast from this part, I usually have a good chance of getting snagged because it's not a clear area of the river. There will surely be logs and things, but well, let's see how we deal with that issue. There it is, the poor animal startled me. We are going to proceed to start taking out the fishing gear. Let me tell you that for bait, I brought tripero. On Saturday, once again, I'll be setting up here, getting one ready. Even the tripero, I'll be getting one ready. If you're curious, what is this? This is water with bleach. Use any container you have. I mostly use it when I bring tripe, you know, to clean your hands and not end up all messed up. Today I'll make these two reels, front and spinning. We're going to set up a double line for mixed fishing. We'll start with that in a little while. I brought both of the tackle boxes. And once we manage to get all the water out, we're going to start walking around and see what we can share with you in this place. Well, regarding the line I'm going to prepare, I just realized I'm out of nylon. I've used it up and didn't bring any more. So, let's get started. Add a leader to the rigged line over there, which in this case is a rigged line that has a sliding sinker. So what we're going to do is tie another nylon line here. I just made a small knot to hold it in place. Now I'll show you how it looks. The knot I typically make every time. We give it about 6 turns. We pull and wait for it to get stuck. With the other blind knot I mentioned to you a while ago that I left there it is, and that's where the line will be added on top of the other line. Now what you have to do to make it comfortable for you is to cut it. This part that's going to be left over. If you don't, they'll end up getting damp, as they always leave a little bit in case it slips. There we go. I think that's good. Let's cut it a little bit here. Look, it should be about 30 to 15.748 inches this. As for the hook, we're gonna add this one. Look, it's a good size for the bait, mainly to avoid bait stealers and all that stuff, because otherwise they'll drive you crazy there with those subtle bites where they don't get hooked and all that. So, well, let's go ahead and put on a good chunk of bait and wait to see if a nice catfish, a moncholo, or a little patty bites, which they say are around. Thank you. Thank you. This is how one of the lines I added turned out. Another little hook. Check out the top and the other part at the bottom. To this one, I mostly put the belly on it. For this one, I put a lot of tripe on it, like to cast it kind of close so the spot can be seen clearly. So with this one, we're going to cast a bit more over there and maybe a little farther away. There we go. Look, I want to show you this thing here. When I get closer, I think they're tadpoles. It would be good to catch some for bait. Look, can you see them? They're all here, probably, so the current doesn't carry them away. So if I can catch some for bait and try later, well, look. I just caught a few, so I'm gonna keep them here. In the end, we'll see how it tastes. I might try it later. To give you an idea of the variety of fish here on the coast, that's something you don't usually see. The abundance of insects and bugs clinging to the sticks. It's impressive. Let's explore all those areas. We have a fishing rod. And here's the other one. So, well, now we're gonna leave this in the shade. We'll walk around to see what's on the other side. Look at the lizard Vero over there. It hasn't seen me. I think it came out from here. Oh, it heard me. So the southern lapwing, I hope it has left because I'm going to have to be careful with the tripero. I want to see what he does. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Thank you. What's going on? Well, I'm just about to start. And I'm coming over here for a bit because down there by the cows there are some cicadas and they're unbearable. So, I'm going to get to the stream here. Today for bait we brought fresh heart and liver. It's impressive how much it has gone down. I hadn't been here before, but I can tell because look at the water level and also the grass, how it's completely dry. And clearly it went down a lot. The height you can notice is past the pillars on that side. And here, it looks like people have already come to fish and several have kept going because it must be very slippery. Alright, let's start with the liver. I've already shared with you several times that when I go to the streams or lagoons, I usually always bring a bit of fresh liver. And heart is also always very good for tarocha and boga, depending on how the fish are biting. So, in a little while we'll see if something happens, right? We've already cut up some liver. This is actually beef heart. This little bit of fat is also good for making bait. You cut it into small pieces and keep it in a jar for a while, adding things to it. And over time that ferments and releases a strong scent in the water. So if you want to try it too. The heart is much firmer, more solid. So you'll notice that it's much easier to put on the hook and you won't lose the bait. I'll probably just try with 2 setups. One I'll cast more for mixed fish, and the other I'll set up just for boga and add some really small pieces. I'm gonna set up a rig with a really small hook for... Now let's see if we can catch some bogas or something. I'll share it with you all in a bit. How I prepare it, what I'm going to use, let's see if I can make the fold with a double hook. We need a... This is to cut the nylon. We're only gonna use... here, which is a little stream. A little less than a meter. When working with iron, always consider the knots and leave extra material to ensure the final piece isn't too short. Done. We're going to use a small sinker. Let's see if I have the smallest one I own. And the short shank hooks are here. I'm going to choose from the little hooks I have here. 1-on-1, look, short shank. I also have these that are for working with nothing, but in this case, I'm going to use a tiny one, this one, and one of these. A little piece of cloth, this one for the knot. Alright, the first thing I do is thread the loss, which is to mark the distance where the sinker is going to run. In this case, I have a little lagoon, so I'm going to leave it there. Estimate about 25 centimeters more or less. I tie a knot so it holds. Neat. Alright, let's bait the hook. The hook that will go on the bottom with liver. It's a super tiny hook, so in case something bites, and then the one on top. I also send a little piece of heart as bait. So, well, let's see if the line is set up now. Look. From Don Suelito and sliding. Let's do a trick and have the rod ready because it's impressive how quickly it bites. Well, look, first catch. Father Blanco Moncholo. Let's set him free so he can go and call the priest now. I'll assemble a small team. We'll enter through there. A place that's a little deeper. Let's see if we can catch a bigger catfish. I considered attending this part because I've been told it's really tough because of the snakes and all, so let's go. We're going to hang out for a while over there in the area I mentioned, and let's see if we get lucky. There's a bite. If it's a fish, it'll bite quickly. Why? Do mosquitoes even get into my mouth? Look at how much wood the water has brought and dragged here, because it seems like it overflowed all the way up here. And all of this area from Acacio up to the edge right there. But look how nice it is there, he says. The fishing rod is moving. It's biting right there. The bites are very subtle, and I'm unsure if they're bait stealers or something else. I brought a fishing rod with small hooks and some bait, but now it seems like a lot of bait stealers. All right. All right. 1 second, guys. Another little moncholito. It looks like these are the ones that are biting. Look at the hook. And look at the bait. They got hooked right on the lip. I returned to the previous spot and found another catfish was caught there. I almost left and it got tangled down here. So let's see if, look, it's pulling there. Let's move it. See if it helps to get it out. Let's say it's pulling nicely, probably a montrol.
I don't think it's a boga.
Careful, man. There's a rock here, but there it is. I don't want to force it. Why? But I saw it. It's a boga. Come on, Linda.
Boga, beautiful boga.
It's not the boga. It's actually a hook. Of the two I put on, one is tangled in a water hyacinth over there.
And that's what's giving me resistance.
No, this is really soft. Can you believe it?
Let's go. Let's drag it.
Well, look, what a beautiful animal. Right there. I had cut myself there. I had cut the hook and decided to catch it, but look, beautiful size. Well, I'm gonna arrange it. Look, it cut. I'm gonna
Leave it here and get ready. Turn.
with heart, it bit me. Well, I just sat down for a bit because I went to walk around the area I showed you. Everything itches now because not long ago we went on a night hike with Guido and got bitten by mosquitoes.
And the fishing was going really well. The fishing was going really well.
And when we were leaving, as we were putting on bug spray, it was like putting it on our hands and then baiting the hook. It seems like it affected the fishing. And we didn't catch anything else. So this time, I am with that little thing about not casting again because they don't bite anymore after that. I don't know if it happened to me, to us, or what, but well, it's been a while since I caught a boa. Well, another catch, this one. Another boga, by the way, posed. Daughter of mine. He just got into the water hyacinths.
It's much smaller.
Look, a beautiful boga. This is the common one. The other one I caught, the first one, is the 3-spot one. We're going to release this one because it's still small. Look at the hook. And the other rod is also starting to get bites. It looks like the water warmed up a bit. I must have gotten here around 8 in the morning. My plan was to come earlier, like 7:30, but no. I had bought the bait and I spent about half an hour outside a butcher shop waiting for it to open around 7. It opened. Let's see up to here. If I can get down, let's release the one from here. There it is. Let me tell you, the bite is instant. As I mentioned earlier, there are many bait stealers, and sometimes the problem is that when you cast, they attack quickly. So, well, this was a good bite. I'll keep saying, for instance, that I didn't bring worms because in that situation, fishing becomes impossible. Only then, that pull was from a boat. Well, I think that by putting a bigger piece of heart, clearly bigger bows attack, because he even put another hook for variety and he's getting some really strong bites. And here with this one I hooked, I'm trying to save the leader. That's another thing I didn't mention to you. It's a very prone place to get snagged because there's a lot of trash. There must be 3 meters of creek width and also here on the shore. While reeling in, if you don't lift the rod properly, you'll get completely snagged. It's something that requires technique. You have to consider. If you come, look. I hope it was seen, but it shook the rod, literally. But I'm mostly waiting for a good bite because when I'm about to grab it, it stops biting. This is impossible. I have to cut it. It's a shame because Look how beautiful this little stream is. It's right here. I just saw some little fish and now I'm going to get closer.
If I'm not mistaken, they're sabalos.
There they are. They're sabalos. Down there you could see they moved. I don't know from where. Look, here you can see another one more, but there's no movement in this. I don't know if it also cuts into the field, but I've never shot in this part either. This one would be 200 meters from the other one. Easy 200 meters, that's all. I'm telling you, I don't know where the water comes from. Obviously, I know it connects with the fields, but I don't know if they've ever caught me in this part. Heavy rain must be intense, but it's still visually appealing. I'm looking at the school of fish and they're mojaras, not little sabalos, so some lagoon fish like tarariras could emerge.
Or something like that.
Maybe some eels. Also, the thing is that this is private property. I'm also checking for movement in the middle, right there past the wire, where you can see the deep part. There's a lot of movement. So I don't know how far it goes, but I don't think so. I don't know. Can you fish here? Maybe if you cross the wire and cast nearby. Maybe, but I remember once that they're in the same stream where I was. We had walked into the field and they chased us away right away. No, but now that I'm looking, it's full of schools of fish, of little sabalos, of monjaras. They're getting closer. Look, there they are. You can see how the water is. It's a great spot. Well, so I hope you liked it. Today's fishing trip. At the end, I'll show you the night fishing I mentioned earlier, about the off-topic. So it's gonna be short. But anyway, you'll see the big fish that Guido caught and the bites we got there in a little while. So, well, I hope you liked it. You know, if you're new and want to be part of the channel, join us. So, well, see you next time, folks. Thanks for watching and for being part of it. Well, before everything gets messed up, we're here for a little while with Guido. We came to cast the rods. We just set up the little gear. What time is it, Guido?
More or less.
8:30. So the little light we have left. Let's see if we can catch some little catfish. Some catfish to prepare another day. Look at the sky. So yeah, in a little while we managed to catch something. We'll show you what we have.
Really rotten, disgusting.
Right, Guido? Just to get some attention. And of course, we've got the bug spray and the mate tea. We'll keep you updated if anything arises. Just observe its significant growth.
So, alright, let's go. Let's see if...
Repellent makers are becoming millionaires, as they should. The repellent must contain garlic or a similar ingredient.
Well, Guido.
Look at how they're grazing. See if you can spot it. You can see either an aguaitame or a moncholo. I don't know, but get it out. Hold on, we're in the dark here with the bro.
Make sure the nylon doesn't rub against it.
Let's go, Guido, serve. He's hooked, Guido said. Like a well-hooked fish, Guido remarked. Did you see the little mancho, big mancho?
Me.
I said it's stuck among the weeds or a fish. This is what we came to look for to prepare well, Guido. Congratulations.
Well, look, this is the bait.
Basically the tongoril, which is the belly of the sabalo, and then the guts, which also make up the whole tribe.
Notice that This looks like it's already too rotten.
What we do is cut the tongrel into small pieces and intersperse it with the fat. This one you see here. And always add a little bit of this tripe because
That's what
draws the most attention at the night of the Bagres.